Hi, it's Mike Gormley, and it's the Mike Gormley Show. And proud to have some of the great musicians going around, Danny Kortchmar and Steve Postell on with us from the immediate family. And and those in Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, and evidently there's now two other gigs I hadn't heard of where the immediate family are coming your way. So check and see what's happening there. But now, when we were talking earlier, Danny, you mentioned rather briefly went by the section.
Hmm.
The section was just studio, right? It wasn't a band, it was you guys, but it was a studio configuration.
It was the four of us. We were on the road with James, Rusley Rusley and me, and our keyboard player at the time, Craig Durkee, and we were backing up James on his tour, his college tour. And James would come out and do a very quick sound check. He just wanted to know if he could hear himself, and then he would leave. So we were on stage. We would start jamming. We wanted to play.
Hmm.
And out of that came the section. And the reason why it came out of that is because the front of house guy recorded it on a cassette and played it for Peter Asher. And Peter said, "Have you heard this, guys? Have you heard this? You're really good. You should do something with this." So Peter very much helped us, as he's helped all of us through all of our careers.
Right.
Mhm.
He goes back the early days of James Taylor and you, getting him signed to Apple Records and so on and so forth. It's quite a story that Peter's been there basically from the beginning, right?
He certainly has, yes.
Um, and he also, just for people listening, Peter Asher, not to mention his own performing career as Peter and Gordon, but he also, not only James Taylor, but was very much involved with the career and success of Linda Ronstadt,
Sure.
and probably others who would take a long list to mention, but seems to be primarily those two, at least in the early days.
Right. Well, he
Um,
was a genius level producer. Peter was a great producer, probably the best producer I ever worked with. Well, him,
really,
him and Lou. Sorry, I have to wipe my nose. Him and Lou Adler were both genius level producers in that they let the stuff happen. They didn't make it happen. They didn't go out and shout at you. They let stuff happen, and we learned a tremendous amount from working with those two producers.
um, okay, we were talking about the documentary a little bit, and I don't have a lot more questions on the documentary. I just want to tell people that it's a really great, if you're a music fan at all, and certainly a fan of these guys, it's a great time to sit back and just enjoy the stories that go on around it. It's a very, very interesting movie.
Well,
Mhm.
one of the things that's unique about it, I think, is that because of who everyone knew and worked with, uh, the little interviews, instead of one or two people, it's James Taylor, Jackson Browne, Carole King, Linda Ronstadt, Lou Adler, Don Henley, Neil Young, Keith Richards. It's everybody kind of all these people said yes. So it's very rich in terms of the history of that era, aside from what everybody
Right,
did.
right.
That's
But
right.
it's up to date too. It's everything that's going on now. It's not just the past. So it's really that's what's very cool about it, is you're getting both views of what's going on with the music from you guys.
Hmm. Well, I'll tell you what. As you know, the music business and music itself has changed tremendously
Dramatically, yeah.
from when we were doing this stuff in the late '60s, early '70s. You have to remember, everyone listened to the same music. You turn on your FM radio and you listen to Sly and the Family Stone, followed by CSN, followed by Joni Mitchell, followed by Smokey and the Miracles. In other words, the DJs were playing all kinds of different music, and that's what you would hear on the radio. You wouldn't hear just one kind.
Sure.
Now it's niche. If you're a heavy metal fan, all you hear is heavy metal. All you want to hear is heavy metal. If you're kind of a sad boy, emo band, then you just want to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why people could kind of they navigate to the stuff that they think means the most to them, but they don't get a chance to hear other stuff.
Hmm.
So, and that is very different than the way it was in the 70s, 80s.
And kind of detrimental to music in general. I mean, you're not getting the full force of music. You're getting your channel of music.
I think so. I think so, but I also think that music, popular music, does not have the same power that it had in the late 60s, 70s, and 80s, where everyone was listening to radio, everyone was watching MTV. It was universal. Now, like I said earlier, people just go to the niche that they're interested in. So we don't have a wide vista of people listening to various different kinds of music and
Right.
getting involved in it.
It's the immediate family getting to a style of music is you've got 3 guitarists in the band and a drum and bass. Is so it's, I guess you would say, guitar driven. Is that accurate?
Post.
Well, you could, in a sense, I mean, yes, obviously it's three guitars, but the thing about what we do is we're not just all bashing away playing the same thing. It's very organically orchestrated. It's not that we work it out. So the guitars are playing the music, but it could be a keyboard, it could be another. We're playing these parts together that form the whole. And it's very exciting for me the way the three of us treat the sonic differences in the guitars and the parts and how it interacts and why we don't really need a keyboard. I love keyboards, but we're kind of doing all that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you say guitar driven, it kind of connotates something that's I don't think we are, which is heavy guitars.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I think we're more like the Buffalo Springfield, where everybody found a place to be rather than.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So it's 3 guitars, but you're bringing in different elements to the music.
That's right. The fact is that we all know there isn't a lot of discussion about our guitar parts. In other words, Waddy and I, who've been playing together for at least 45 years, the longest conversation we would have between Waddy and I on a date would be, well, you go low and I'll go high. End of discussion. And now with 3 guitars, Steve Postell does stuff that Waddy and I can't do. He has textures and stuff that he can put in. He also has great finger picking skills that Waddy and I can't do. So now we got Waddy can go like nobody's business. Me, I can go like nobody's business. And Steve can go great parts on top of that, and that's what you think. But that's not something you have to sit around and discuss for hours. That's something that either is going to happen or it's not.
It just happens. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we got another break coming up, and we'll be back in a minute to the Mike Gormley Show and our special guests. Thank you.